Rattlesnake in a Jug. This is being recorded March 11th, 2019. The date of occurrence, late spring 1975. The occurrence was in two locations. First part was in Hood River area. Second part was Camp Howard Outdoor School. In the spring of 1975, I'd taken a job at a group home up in Hood River. I think it was named the Next Door Incorporated. At this time, I think they're still in operation too. But it was a group home for boys and girls that were all between the age of 11 and maybe 15 years of age. A lot of these kids had a difficult life. They were in trouble. They'd been involved with the juvenile authorities. It was determined that they needed to live at this group home away from their regular homes and the influences that helped them do things that they weren't supposed to do. Stuff that had to do with theft, drugs, sex, mouthing off, basically being disrespectful, all that sort of thing. Having experience dealing with kids, different type problem kids, it was one of these things that I gravitated to. I never worked in a group home. So there I was, up at the home, up on the heights of Hood River, moved in, had a room. The rest of the staff, these guys were all educated. I didn't have a college degree in child psychology or sociology or social work, any of that, juvenile stuff. I had experience. I was gone for a day or two. I think it was my days off. A couple of the group home staff women decided that they were going to take all the kids that were there. There was only 5 or 6 at the time. They were going to take them on up the gorge a little bit, up in this little creek to wade around and swim and have a nice time. I came back while they were gone. Nobody home. There was a note for me saying that they'd gone. They were going swimming up this creek. So I did my normal duties, cleaning up, getting some dinner ready, putting entries in some of the books and all that. Yeah, it was about 4 o'clock or so. The van swings back on in, nice and slow and easy. A couple of the kids get out, but everybody's kind of quiet and they look kind of owly. I walked over to the van to see if I could help with something, and they says, "We need some help." So, okay, what do you need me to do? And they said, "Well, you've been to outdoor school. You know about this stuff, blah, 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 blah." And I said, "Well, yeah, well, what can I do?" "Oh, we have a rattlesnake." I said, "You've got a rattlesnake?" "Yeah." I said, "How do you know?" "Because he's got little rattles on the end of his tail and he makes noise with it and he's got these big fangs." "Where is it?" One of the kids was holding it by the neck, just behind his head, and holding the back of the tail. They didn't know how to release that rattlesnake, so that they're afraid he'd turn around and come back and get them. To be honest, I didn't know if he had it in him or if he's all tuckered out. Something came to me. I went back in the house. There was an old gallon jug that was empty, clear gallon jug. Went back to the van and says, okay. I helped him take the tail and tuck it down into the gallon jug. We got him all the way down in there with just his head peeking out the top and the kids hanging on just behind the jaws. And I said, when you drop him, he's going to fall in. He's going to have a tough time coming back out there. We'll put a cap on it right away. And he dropped it. The snake plunked right inside there. We put the cap on, and everything was good. They said, well, now what do we do? I said, well, I have a friend at the outdoor school, and I'm sure she'd be more than happy to have this snake for an exhibit for a couple more weeks. It's the end of the season, but it'd be something good for them to see. I'll give her the snake, and when she's done, she'll get rid of it without any problem. They were pleased about that. No more snake, no more problem. I took the snake, drove on back to town over to Camp Howard. There was Rhoda. Real name for her is Rhoda Landell. She's animal resource specialist. I got there about dinner time, went over to her resource area where she lived as well, and brought her the snake. And she was tickled to have it. This was going to be kind of fun, something that they don't normally see. It was in a good container too. The only thing we need is to feed the thing. She says, well, they can last a long time, but we'll get a mouse or something for it. Just after dinner, she tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, Cletus, we got the mouse for the snake. You want to put it in? Sure. Went down to the resource cabin, and Rhoda's got the snake, and she's fixed a little screen for the top of the gallon jug so the snake can breathe. And we go to put this mouse down the hole into the gallon jug for the snake to eat. We thought this is going to be great watching him eat. Took the mouse by the tail, scooted over there, and I thought I'd just drop it down the hole. Well, that mouse got one whiff of that snake and just went nuts. His eyes got big, they got red. He was doing everything under his power to keep from going down that hole. He knew what was going to happen, and I did too. I was looking forward to it. Well, there was a struggle and more struggle. Finally, he slipped up a little bit, and down the hole he went into where the snake was. First thing he did is jump off of the snake. Then he started to run around in circles, big circles. He was running over top of the snake. He was going round and around. The snake's watching him, but the snake's just not doing it. He's just sitting there. I figured, okay, sooner or later that mouse is going to tire out and the snake's just going to reach over and gulp him on down. We went back up to the dining hall, have a little coffee, talk a little bit. I figured I'd go back up to the Hood River group home there first thing in the morning. So I found a cabin, took a snooze. The next morning, got up, had some breakfast. Rhoda says, take a look at this. I went back to the resource area with her, looked inside. The snake's dead. The mouse is still running around scared to death. I guess the snake just couldn't take it. We tipped the jug over. The mouse had earned his freedom, turned him loose. Shook the snake out. Yep, he was dead. Rhoda laid him out, covered him over so he could rot out and get some bones out of him.